What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. Finally, I get to do some Beta 18 gameplay. So, it'd be no different to you, but the last video I actually sat down and recorded was on the 30th of October. That's how long I've been away for, so almost 2 weeks? No, just under 2 weeks. Maybe perfectly on 2 weeks at the time you're seeing this. So there's been a lot of Beta 17 stuff, which I had to pre-record before I left, and I think I've missed out on most of the action, most of the dramas, but I was checking Discord now and then. It seems that Beta 18 was released without too many dramas. I think the only issues I saw was if people had like UIs installed previously, then you couldn't see like the testing slider and things like that. But I've seen very positive things about this Erode. So what I want to do in today's video is I'm on the newly released Glen Helen, the 2016 version created by Gdub and Beyer on the MXB shop, and I'm also wadding myself. But what I've done in preparation for this is I've run, what's it done, 8 laps, I think, just to really get the Erode to set in. I've got the Erode set to 5 times, so I wanted it to get really deep, and I just wanted to see how the bike handles in the rough, how the game feels now, because I've done some high Erode videos in the past, like just challenge ones, show max Erode, 50 laps and so on, and they get pretty, they're just unrideable with how the ruts develop. They get very jagged, there's like massive craters in there, and I wanted to see if the Erode was a bit smoother now. And as you can see, as I'm riding around, all these darker patches, they are not pre-made, they are me, just me riding around, and you can see that they do dig in pretty deep. Now, there's some places that it makes it rather unpleasant. The biggest uphill that you can see right in front of me is getting to the point of maybe nearly doing a crash every single lap, because MX Bike's uphill physics are still a bit boofed. But there's some corners, like the one to the left over there that I just went round, that it roads so good. You know, you get lines crossing over each other, and there's actually definitive lines, which is the most important thing for me. I really hate how previously with Erode, bearing in mind I've not tested this in big multiplayer servers yet to see how it all forms, I hated how the track just becomes one smooth surface. It just becomes a highway. You know, even if there was a rut at some point, it kind of gets blown over, or so many ruts created next to each other that they all blend into one, so it's not really difficult. A lot of time tracks actually get easier towards the end of a race, so doing this where the lines are a bit more definitive, if that makes sense, is really good. I'll show you the outside here in this corner, so you can see like multiple lines going into it, which is nice. And then one lap I accidentally exited it early, and it's created a whole second rut for me, which is actually really nice to bank off of. So it's very promising. I'm very excited to see how long 30-minute races will go on this. I believe, so I'm recording this on Friday, you're going to see it Saturday, but I believe on the Saturday there is an Ace Moto race on this very track. So I'm going to give it a go, see what the Erode's like. It should be good fun. And I just want to talk about this track for a second as well, outside of the Erode. Oh my god, how refreshing it is to have an actual 1x1 scale track, first of all, which I absolutely love them. I love the more technical tracks. But have an actual difficult track as well. Now, so going down some of these hills, it is so rough. I mean, to ride round, absolutely fine. But if you want to race around them and you want to carry a lot of speed, you're going to be really pushing the limit of kind of tucking the front end or going over the bars on some of these bumps, and it's really enjoyable. Just a massive breath of fresh air. Getting tongue twisted there. So thank you very much, Gdub and Beyer. So this track was a commission track by Fraz that went up on the MXB shop, and it's the 2016 version of Glen Helen. Now I know there's just recently been a 2022 version released by Superjoint for free on the forums. On MXB mods. I'm out of practice on this whole YouTube thing again. I'm so sorry. But I thought it just, in terms of realism and knowing the quality of work previously from Gdub and from Beyer, I just thought, well, I'll go with this one for this video, and it does not disappoint. I mean, visually, track looks really cool. In terms of the height map and everything, it feels absolutely perfectly one-to-one. I think some of the lines, so the rhythm section that I'm coming up to in a second, after the end of this straight, I think some of the jumps would be very difficult to do on a 250, so I'm very glad I hopped on the 450. And there's big rhythms you can do from inside or outside, so if you go outside here, you can triple in and then just triple your way through the rest of it. Oh, that rough caught me off guard there. So triple, double, and then hit the, well, what would have been finish line years ago, not anymore. Or you could go inside, I believe it's double, triple. And if you do get out of sync as well, you can even send the last single and jump up on top of that jump at the end. It's really, really nice. It all flows really nicely, which is why I can't emphasize enough how good the scaling is on this. In terms of the roughness, I actually think this is probably quite a difficult track for most people. So your beginners and your intermediates, probably quite a hard track just to spin comfortable laps on. Now, the uphills is the fault of MX bikes. You know, we always get the uphill wobble. It's going to happen regardless. You just have to know how to kind of counteract it to the best of your abilities. But the downhill, I think it's just that perfect amount of rough where it's controllable, but not to the point. It's not stupid rough where you're just going to get kicked over the bars and no chance of saving it. And I did find out, actually, if you look at my controller, I don't know why I've not thought of doing this before, but actually it doesn't show it on the controller if I do them at the same time. Oh, and my controller... Never mind, I've just realised, I've just looked across, my controller overlay isn't even working. So I knew something could be broken when I come back from being on holiday. So I do apologise, you're just seeing a controller overlay that's doing nothing right now. I'm so sorry. But going down some of these really steep hills with the bumps, I'm actually finding it quite beneficial to actually brake and partially accelerate at the same time. I feel like it keeps the wheels much more planted on the ground, and I know it's completely unrealistic. You'd never get that IRL, but for some reason it really works. I say that about IRL. I know that if you're on super steep hills and you drag the back brake, you are meant to put a slight bit of throttle on. It keeps the back wheel planted more. Something I never do because I'm shit in person. So moving on. But it's one of them techniques that I'd never thought to try until now, because a lot of the tracks aren't really challenging enough to make you think out of the box, if that makes sense. And it's something that I always used to do on sim. It's a very well-known way of going down on downhills fast on sim without losing the back end too much. And I have no idea why it's just come across to me now. But I mean, give it a go if you've got this track, which I definitely recommend you get. I mean, if you're not the best and you're struggling getting round, just keep at it. It's one of them tracks that is very good for practice. I mean, you can see myself here. I'm having an absolute mare on some of these jumps, but I'm going to put that down to how extremely I set the Erode, because I was having an absolute whale of time on lap like 3 or 4 once I'd learned how the track goes, and the Erode wasn't too bad. But I think for future, just for like personal testing and just playing the game for fun, I don't think I'll go as far as putting it on 5 again. I wanted to put it more to an extreme to see just how it reacts. I'd be more happy doing it even like a 2 or a 3, because I feel even at that level it'll start cutting ruts into the ground that you can hook into and actually use without getting to the point where it's super choppy and your front end's fighting the whole time. Like some of these straights here where there is so much pre-built rough, it can get a little bit difficult to even get some forwards momentum going. The biggest part that I can think of is over the complete opposite side of the track that I'm on right now. Got that massive triple after the like turn-in tabletop thingy or whatever it's called, and that there was getting a little bit difficult to get some speed for. Try and get on the binders, get onto this inside rut. I always get nervous taking this inside because, as you know, up hills at slow speeds, they can be very difficult. You can just feel the bike wobbling under me. There we go, barely. There's such a fine line, you know. You got to really hover that throttle and keep the front end so light. If you start getting a little bit wobbly, just let go, let the bike sort itself out. Should be okay. Love this corner where you can kind of apex it and cut back down to the inside, and that's one of the ones that have got the deepest ruts in as well. This one's a little bit challenging to get into nicely because the bike wants to kick out a bit due to the hills going into it. Then yeah, this one here, but this jump has actually started becoming a little bit difficult for me. Let's try and, there we go, take the smooth bit. It's so nice, especially when a track's smooth, just throwing her sideways up and over that. And reading the MX Bikes shop, sorry, I always go to say MXB mods. I was just looking through the description, see if there was any weird and wonderful facts with the release. I have no idea how long this track took for them to put together. There was no mention of that, so I can't really... I mean, I can't tell you how long the track took. I would guess it took quite some time. I mean, it's very impressive, both from a looks perspective and a riding perspective. And then I think... So it was a paid track, which I mentioned, and then there's actually going to be a full facility released in the future, which is going to be nice. So based just off of playing this alone, I'm very excited for that. Now, I have never been to Glen Helen myself. I know Glen Helen is an absolutely massive facility. I mean, I've seen GoPros of people doing like massive enduros going off and outside and all over the place, and it looks really good. I don't know if we'd get anything like that, or if there's just some additional tracks around Glen Helen as well. I'm sure you much more knowledgeable guys will let me know in the comments down below, as you always do. I always appreciate your insight, and if you are the Glen Helen specialist, then let me know down below. What does the entirety of Glen Helen entail? How many tracks are there? Is there supercross tracks often in the distance or something? I know that you've got the really weird enduro stuff, which I imagine is quite fun around here. I mean, it's a very, very hilly area. And one thing I'll say, whenever I watch Glen Helen races in the AMA, more so a couple of years ago, some of the uphills, they get so, like, gnarly, don't they? Like, you get proper square edge bumps going up them, and it just looks like one of my worst nightmares. I'm so glad that I haven't got to do that. I imagine that it's... Oh, come on. Survive. Oh, so close. I imagine that it gets nothing near like that on practice days or just casual average Joe days, but think about them big 450 boys. They just absolutely destroy the hills with all that power they've got, and it just makes them look almost unrideable. I think they end up like pre-jumping to the top of them sometimes because of the bumps. You can see I am in absolute struggle town right now. Definitely gone overkill, so probably not done the track as much justice as I could do. If you do download it, just do it on like 1 Erode or even 0 to begin with. You won't get anywhere near as many wonky low speed physics as I'm getting. And to be fair, let's be honest, I've had 2 weeks off. I'm going to be a little bit shit. And the last time I was playing, I was grinding the 250 ahead of Nations. So 450 is a little bit overkill for me right now. I do need to get back on the grind and practice a bit. I'm looking in the next coming like few weeks of doing some Supercross practice live streams, because now I've got all the free time in the world. There's no reason not to. And then in between doing some videos and some live streams, I'm just going to be sat here grinding away at Modern Warfare 2. Very, very annoyed that I had to go away for 2 weeks just to see release, because I was on that grind. I think I got 6 golds in the first 2 days. So back on that now, back to sweating my arse off and trying to do the more difficult tasks like getting the right shield and the knife gold and things like that. Right shield, pain in the arse, by the way. So actually getting it leveled up, absolutely fine. But you've got to get it actually gold. You need to get double kills or get 2 kills without dying 10 times. And the right shield's shit. I mean, the knife kills in one hit, so that's a little bit easier. You can just be a little rat and sit in the corner and wait for people to come past. But the right shield, not so much. You know, you've got to kind of push into people. It's very rare that you actually get a one-on-one like battle where you can kill someone without getting shot in the back. So that'll be my grind. I'm going to sit there painfully lowering my skill-based matchmaking by going like 2 and 20 every game with using a riot shield. But I digress. That's not a topic for this video. But I hope you have enjoyed it. Really glad to be back. Really happy to be trying out all the new tracks that have been released while I've been gone. And hopefully in the coming days as well, I'll be able to get a server going with you guys, get some beta 18 Erode testing underway, and some good stuff. I'm really excited. Happy to be back. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you could please drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, I'd really, really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you guys are up to, and until catch you in the next video. Peace.